Hello and welcome to the Daily Space for today. I think it's June 10th, 2019. I'm your host, Dr. Pamela Gay, and I am here to put science in your brains. Today is a little bit of chaos. As some of you may have heard, CosmoQuest has a additional temporary dog here at my house. She is not upstairs here in our studios today. She's a middle-aged, overweight grouch who tolerates no puppies or toddlers. I get her. I get her. And she's not up here, but she did create a little bit of chaos just by changing up our schedules. So we apologize for anything that isn't quite as polished as normal. Okay, so on to today's news. When Pence announced that NASA was going back to the moon, a whole lot of us wondered exactly how this was going to get paid for, especially when they promised that they would figure out how to do this in essentially 4 years with no spending cuts to science or other programs at NASA. Well, now we know. On Friday, NASA went to the NASDAQ stock exchange here in the United States to essentially say the International Space Station is open for business. In a reversal of decades-old policies, NASA has said that they are now willing to begin allowing commercial companies to pay to ship cargo, to use the astronauts' time, and to do all of this for their marketing, manufacturing, and other money-making endeavors. This means you just might see our astronauts in commercials and doing product placement. And the sky is really not the limit for NASA's newest money-making plans. They have limited the purchasable crew time to 90 hours a year, and they're only going to allow 175 kilograms of commercial cargo to go to the space station. But you can ship a whole lot of logos and record a whole lot of 2-minute commercials in that time. Going to the moon isn't cheap, and NASA is not going to limit itself to selling astronaut time and cargo space. They're actually also entering the business of astrotourism. Some of you may remember that back in the day, Russia used to launch tourists to space. Billionaire after billionaire, including ex-prize sponsor Anosha Anasari, they signed up to go up on a Soyuz capsule and spend time on the International Space Station. This was eventually stopped for a variety of reasons, including that NASA was really concerned about the potential fallout if something went wrong and one of these space tourists either got in the way or had something happen to them while they were on the International Space Station. Well, when you're trying to take the garage sale approach to pay your way to the moon, everything comes out of the closet and gets a price tag. On Friday, NASA announced that they will now sell up to 2 trips a year to the International Space Station, and lucky rich people can now buy a ticket on a commercial spacecraft and pay roughly $35,000 per night to berth in space. Visits can last up to 30 days, meaning that NASA can raise up to $700,000 a year with these astrotourists. Now, while that may sound like a lot of money, that is actually enough to cover the salary for maybe 3 astronauts. Not astronauts, 3 scientists. Maybe. When you factor in salary, overheads, insurance, medical benefits, all of that, this is probably just enough money to cover the salaries of 2 scientists working at NASA. If you ever planned on buying a Lamborghini using the profits from a lemonade stand, this strategy may seem familiar. For everyone else, I'd like to remind you that NASA is currently set to end its lease on the International Space Station in 2024, which is also the year we're supposed to get to the moon. And there isn't really a planned budget for the International Space Station beyond 2024. And did I mention that's the year we're supposed to get to the moon? So this plan may actually be a way for NASA to slowly move its efforts from the International Space Station to the moon, handing that space over to commercial corporations and clients. These commercial plans may actually be the way for the U.S. share of the International Space Station to go to new U.S. commercial partners before we have to figure out how to pay for the U-Haul to get all of NASA's stuff from low Earth orbit to the lunar South Pole. It was a weird day on Friday for space. Moving on to things even weirder. We have a story about experimental physicists at Yale who have shown that quantum mechanics isn't at all what we thought in one very important way. Using a large wire and circuitry-based artificial atom, they've been able to recreate the quantum transitions that occur when an atom switches from one configuration to another in a way that 100 years ago was first described as instantaneous. For roughly 100 years, we've always thought that when an electron jumped from one energy level to another, when an atom's spin vibration state changed, this was the kind of thing that we couldn't predict exactly when it would happen. And it just happened. One moment the atom was in one state, the next it was in a different state. Well, these scientists working at Yale looked at the atom in a very special way, where they weren't looking at the atom in the state that it was currently in. They were looking at it in a state that it was likely to transition into. And this meant that they could study it in a way that didn't collapse its wave function and allowed them to study state changes. And as they did this, they were able to actually come up with a way to predict, and this is something we never thought could happen. They figured out how to predict when this artificial atom was going to transition from one state to another state. And once they figured out how to read the clues that the artificial atom, left them, they were able to make high-speed, highly detailed measurements of what happened as the artificial atom went from one energy state to another energy state. And what they realized is this isn't actually an instantaneous process. Rather, it's a continuous process where the wave function of the artificial atom, and I'm going to remind you, all of us are just wave functions that have particle characteristics. We're a combination. This means that, like waves in water, our wave functions have the potential to interact with one another. Now, our wave function is actually smaller than our bodies, so the body gets in the way of the wave functions interacting. But for this atom that they're studying, they were able to study the collapse of the wave function, and they were able to study the change in the probability of that wave function collapsing into one energy state or the other. And what they realized is it's a smooth transition where the atom goes from state A to state B, and as it transitions, it goes from high probability of state A to halfway through 50-50 state probability of state A or state B to high probability of state B to state B. And they also figured out how to catch their artificial atom as it was in the process of transitioning from state A to state B and interfere with it in a way that reversed this switch in states. Now, none of this is something that we predicted could happen. None of this matches what we thought was happening. but it's awesome and it's cool. And if it's true, there may be a new Nobel Prize involved. But here's where all the caveats come in. This research was done with an artificial atom, something made out of wires and circuitry that has, in all observable ways, worked like an actual atom, just bigger and slowed down. But the devil may be in the details. In addition, this experiment has only been published by one research team, and it was published in Nature. And a lot of really cutting edge, looks like it will revolutionize science results get published in Nature and Science. And then later, as other teams worked to replicate those results, we realized not actually true. Reality is more complicated than initial experiments made us think, or at least differently complicated than initial experiments made us think. So for now, there's a tantalizing result coming from experiments done by a graduate student at Yale. And this may change how we're able to experimentally, do quantum mechanics. But it might not. So let's wait and see who first replicates this experiment, confirming its reality, and let's see how we're able to confirm it and, where the quantum state lands. Now, that is all I've got for science today, but this week we can expect a whole lot of press releases coming to us from the world of astronomy. Right now, on the other side of the river from me is a meeting of the American Astronomical Society, and there is going to be press conference after press conference. I am currently trying to figure out how to get everything done with Bennu mappers, and also find time to go visit the meeting. So help a girl out, click over to bennumappers.cosmoquest.org and help us map out this asteroid so that the OSIRIS-REx spacecraft knows where it should do follow-up imagery. I am looking forward to the day that I send a bunch of you emails saying, hey, this region that you studied, this is the region that we're following up on and learning more about. And then eventually sending some of you a message saying, the region you helped map, that's where OSIRIS-REx is going to grab a soil sample. So help me. Go over to bennu.cosmoquest.org and map rocks. It's tedious. It's slow. Oh my God, there's a lot of rocks. But this is real science. You can help out a little tiny spacecraft and help us figure out where is the safe place to grab some soil and what is the scientifically interesting place to explore. So that rounds out today's episode. I am now going to take your questions. Please, 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 at CosmoQuestX so that I can find them more easily in the chat. While you're typing them in, I'm going to remind all of you that this is a production of the Planetary Science Institute working in collaboration with Youngstown State University. We are here because of you. We are here thanks to your donations, your bits, your subs, your patronage over on patreon.com/CosmoQuestX. If you like the show, please consider making a financial contribution. And if you're not in a position to make a financial contribution, I totally get it. I don't have the resources to support all the things that I want to either. But there are other ways that you can help us out. Help spread the word. Tell other people, check out CosmoQuest. Tell other streamers, hey, they have this 30-minute show. Can you go invade them? And they'll hand you back their audience afterwards unless a bunch of people stream at once. So spread the word. Use your social media. Use your connections to streamers. Help build CosmoQuest's audience so that we have more humans to help us map the rocks. So, yeah, I'm going to see what questions you've got. Okay, scrolling up to the beginnings. Hello, everyone. If you say hello to me, I'm going to say hello to you. Hello, DPI 209. Hello, Alara Sophia. Hello, Michael, who says hello to everyone. Hello. Oh, you're not saying hello, but I'm glad I had a good guess for something, our Instro. Not sure what I had a good guess for. And I don't know what Guido's having for dinner. Um, yes, I totally have a summer hairstyle right now. I don't know if you're talking to me or the dogs, though. They also have a summer hairstyle. Um, Scrolling. Yeah, Ed Thomas, the ISS is now going to be a commercial hub for all intents and purposes, and kudos for using the correct phrasing. Um, lag adder, I love the idea of flat earth redemption tours. That is fabulous. And yes, they should totally put golden space tickets into candy bars. You should tweet that and at me so I can retweet it. Um, I'm glad that you were amused by my U-Haul in low Earth orbit to the moon joke, our instro. I live to make people giggle at very stupid, nerdy things. Um, let's see what else is in here. Hanny asks, if this is true about the quantum mechanics result, does that have any effect on the many worlds theorem versus the Copenhagen interpretation? No, this actually doesn't. And for those of you who don't know what the many worlds versus the Copenhagen interpretation is, according to the Copenhagen theory of quantum mechanics. This is a group of people who met in Copenhagen and basically said when a wave function collapses from one state to another, when a particle decays, when any of these quantum mechanic processes occur due to observation collapsing a wave function, that is the universe definitively going down a path. And our universe doesn't split every time a choice is made. It is a universe with a path, and these quantum mechanical choices are real and the only option that occurs. Now, the many worlds, or the Oxford interpretation, as it was originally called, and Oxford no longer appreciates you calling it that, the Oxford or many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics instead says that every time a wave function collapses one way in our universe, every other possible outcome occurred in a split off parallel universe. This is a form of the multiverse. And with this particular interpretation, every option that is possible is happening out there somewhere. What we're seeing with this particular result doesn't really have an impact on that, since even with this slow and continual change, we have a variety of choices that are being made, allowing both interpretations to still be claimed as valid by their proponents. Okay, scrolling to see what other questions are out there. And I hear dog play occurring, but it's not visible on camera, so I'm not going to switch over to it. Oh, actually, yes, it is. I'm going to switch so that you can get a dose of cuteness while I talk about quantum mechanics, because Stella is playing with something and she's being absolutely ridiculous. Thank you, Ed Thompson, for the bits. Oh, dogs now know that sound. You have to go back over there. There you go. Okay. Thank you. We thank you for your bits with cuteness here on CosmoQuest X. And the best cuteness we have is our doggos. Oh, weird. That's true. The lighting changes as I move. Sorry about that. So Astro YYZ asks, is the idea behind commercializing the ISS to help pay for Artemis? Yes. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So Henny's Vorverp is asking, could the International Space Station be used for private companies' science projects? Yes. Within the limits of they're only going to be launching They're only going to be launching up to 175 kilograms and using 90 hours of United States cargo, space, and astronaut hours for this purpose. Our intro asks, I know time is full of busy, but have you had a chance to, thank you for the bits, Trekker Kev. Have you had a chance to glance at the space.com article regarding the possible chondrite formation model? No. My weekend was one of travel and then rescuing a doggo that needed rescued. And since I got up this morning, I prepped for today's show and did some cleaning. This is actually a day I had booked to take off, so I think I'm doing a good job of taking it off. I will catch up later. I take my days off to rescue dogs, apparently. This is what I do. We all need the things to be passionate about. My day job gets to be space, so my volunteer efforts go to doggos. And I really love seeing the pride flag out there with your bits. That just, thank you. Okay. Our intro says legitimately awesome. Thank you. I don't know why you have a question mark, Sammy Didajop, but I will answer if possible. I just need more words. Okay. And Guido, yes, tabbouleh is fabulous. I'm scrolling up. So you had substitute for rice or pasta. I'm going to make fried rice for lunch. I'm going to make like good fried rice for lunch. I have been looking forward to this all weekend. Okay, so if there are no more questions, I'm going to go rock out the fried rice and try and do some house cleaning. Thank you, Autumn's Rain, for the Twitch Prime sub. Thank you so very much. Okay, so now for the regularly scheduled, awkwardly figuring out how to roll the credits, because there are some things Andy and I must do awkwardly. While I sort this out, I'm going to remind all of you we are a production of the Planetary Science Institute working in collaboration with Youngstown State University. This means your donations are tax deductible where the law allows, which is mostly here in the United States. So thank you for all you do. We are here thanks to the financial contributions of people like you. If you like the show, consider giving. If you can't, please spread the word far and wide that we are here as your place to learn and to do science. So thank you, everyone, for being here. I am going to look for someone to raid. I am up to all of your suggestions, and I somehow don't have Discord open on this computer because I rebooted to install updates. Install updates, people. This is how we keep the world safe. And follows are free. It's true. It's true. And Discord quit unexpectedly. Pikachu! Sorry, it had to be done. There is where Discord opened. Sorry, I'm on multiple monitors. I am going to look in the Knowledge Fellowship to see who's streaming. Thank you, Veronica Cure. Is there a timeout on Bennu images? There shouldn't be. There shouldn't be. I'll take a look at it as soon as I find someone to raid awkwardly, because that's what I do. I awkwardly switch to another streamer. So we have Adam. We have timber anew. Let's do with timber anew. Our instructor, that needs installed on this channel. That's a thing on Star Strider. So if one of the mods wants to install that, go for it. Okay, so I am going to raid timber anew because woodworking just seems like the right kind of thing for today. Timber anew, makers and crafting. So give them a warm CosmoQuest welcome, launch those rockets, light up their stream, and spread the science. Wherever you are in the world, have a absolutely fabulous morning, evening, or afternoon. And remember, if the weather allows, get outside and look up. Bye-bye.